Okay, grade 8s. Now we are going to be doing variables, constants, exponents, coefficients, and algebra. If you've watched this movie already, you will see how much this movie or this video links into this video that we're currently going to do, because we just touched on what a variable, a constant, coefficient, exponents of algebraic expressions are. Okay, let's get straight into it. So we've got variables, constants, exponents, and coefficients. Remember, an algebraic expression is any expression where there's variables x and y that are unknown. So in a variable is x, a variable is y. These are numbers that we can vary in the equation to get an answer. If you watch the video on tables, you'll see how we varied x, whether it be time or age or whatever it be, and then we got a different result out of it. So x is a variable because it can vary, and x and y are two very common variables we use. What is a constant? A constant is a number that does not change. So 3 over here, it is a constant, yes, but by itself it is not a constant because it is multiplied by 3. You'll see what 3 is now. It's in fact a coefficient, but 17 here, or negative 17 rather, is a constant. Nothing we can do to this part of the equation, this term in the equation, why is it a term? Because it's separated by a negative, can change that term. And lastly, or next, exponents. Exponent is x squared. Now, let's not forget that y has also got an exponent. What is the exponent of y? It is simply 1. So exponent is to the power. Remember, for it to be a polynomial, which is what we're dealing with, it's got to be a positive or a non-negative integer, so it includes naught. Because remember, 17 has got a variable to the power of 0. And x to the power of 0, for example, is 1. So we just ignore it. We don't need to write it anyway. And then we got coefficients. Coefficients are the numbers that come before an algebraic expression. For example, 3 or 3y. So these 3's over here are coefficients. Okay, so a variable, it changes. A constant, it stays the same. Right? An algebraic expression is this entire thing we're looking at here. We have two variables, x and y. These are two different variables that we have in this example. So we have 3x squared minus 17 minus 3y. There's two variables, x and y, as we just showed you. Then we have 3x squared minus 17 minus 3. We still have now we have a single variable, even though there are different terms. So you've got to watch the next video. It's very important about like and unlike terms. These are two unlike terms, but there's a single variable. So if, for example, here we made x is equal to 2, that's going to be 3 times 2 squared, 3 multiplied by 2 squared, minus 17 minus 3 times 2. 3 times 4, 2 squared is 4, so that's 12, minus 17 minus 6. So this is going to be 12 minus 17 is minus 5, minus 6 is equal to minus 11. So whatever we made 1x, we had to make both those x's. There's a single variable. Here we now have three variables, x, y, and z. They're all separated by terms, and they are unlike terms. Okay, let's look at some examples. 3x cubed plus x minus x. Right? So what are the various things in these questions? We have xy squared minus 7z plus 8z, and the cube root of 28 minus 3x. So find the variables. So we have here x is a variable, x is a variable, x is a variable. Simply x is a variable, and there's only one variable x. These cancel each other out. These can cancel each other out, plus x minus x. If we made it 2, you would see plus 2 minus 2, it equals 0. But we're not going to deal with that now. The like and unlike terms in the next video. Here we can identify two variables, z and x. So we got two variables, z. Sometimes we put a line through z and x over here. Sometimes we dictate or depict z with a line through it so it doesn't look too much like a 2. Okay, here we have a y variable, we have an x variable, and we have a z variable and a z variable. These are like terms again, so this could go into just simply plus z, but we're not going to deal with that now. This simply has x, y, and z variables. Cube root of 28, you know the cube root of 27 is equal to 3. So this is obviously just a little bit more, minus 3x. Okay, so this is a constant, and this is a variable x. Okay, so we can just say that that is one variable x. Okay, let's move on. Find the constant. What are the constant in these terms? The constant is the number that has no variable. There's only one constant. Here, there's no constant. Here, there's no constant because there's two variables. There's a variable, there's a variable. Here is the only constant in these terms. It is a number that will not change no matter what. Find the exponents. X to the power of 3 is an exponent. X to the power of 1 is an exponent. Z to the power of 2 is an exponent. X is to the power of 1. This is not an exponent. This is simply a coefficient. Because even though it's 3 squared, we can simplify that to 9. As you know, 3 squared is 9. Again, there's an exponent. Remember, y is to the power of 1. Z is to the power of 1. Here, we could have x to the power of 0. Still an exponent, but we don't write it. And the 28 is cube root of 28 is not a coefficient. This is a coefficient here. The 2 is a coefficient. Here's a 1 that is a coefficient. Here's a 1 that is a coefficient. There's an 8 coefficient. It's the number before the variable. Okay, let's have a look at some more examples. What is the coefficient of x squared? The coefficient of x squared in the following terms, not in this term here. What is the coefficient of x squared over here? The coefficient of x squared here is simply root 3, 27. Cube root, 27, which we know is equal to 3. What is the coefficient of x squared in this term? There's x cubed, there's x squared. What's the coefficient? Remember, there's a 1 here. So the coefficient is 1. This is our answer, 1. Oops. Let's go to the next one. There's our answer, 1 and 3. Okay. Yx squared minus 7z plus 8z. Okay, what is the coefficient of x squared? There's x squared. The coefficient in this case is y. Even though it's a variable, it's still the coefficient of the term. It comes before it. What about y to the power of 0? Y to the power of 0 is simply equal to 1x squared. So the coefficient of x squared is 1. How many variables are there in the various 4 terms? Pause it and try it yourself. Here we simply have x, there's 1 unknown. Here we have x, y, so there's 2. Here we have y, x, z, there's 3. Here we have, what is happening here? We only have a y, but it's to the power of 0, so that's just x. So there we just have 1. Okay, well done grade 8. That was variables, constant and expressions. Now we're going into a very important like and unlike terms. And this is going to help us for all the rest of the things we're doing here.